gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. Welcome, everybody, to the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. My name is Drew, and I'm joined with my partner, Chops. We'll be talking some boxing, a lot of boxing today. We're also be covering some MMA results from UFC Fight Night 255. Chops, how you been, my friend?
Oh, I'm good, man. I mean, I'm good. And you? Let me ask you this. I live in Atlanta now, but I'm originally from Pennsylvania, of course. My Pittsburgh Steelers through and through. Got a group of us, right? About 5 or 6 of us. We're in different states, different areas. We have a workout group, all over 50. Just making sure everybody stays dedicated, whatever have you. So, one of the guys in the text, he walks in every day at about 6:15, 6:30. Walks into the gym, right? So he's leaving as he sends his video because we got to have some video. You can't just say you want. We need proof. We need the ocular proof.
I like it.
So he sends it. He says, "Yeah, I did this, whatever have you." And he opens the door to walk out the gym. And it's by this time it's 7:45, 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
It is snowing. There was literally snow falling on the ground.
And where was that?
Pennsylvania, not my hometown in Pittsburgh. I'm like, are you kidding me right about?
Hey, it's March.
Man, yes. So I was like, hold on, I'm seeing it, but I'm not, I can't believe I'm seeing it. So then, of course, it's on the roads, it's falling on the roads, but still cars are driving. So, if the cars are driving, a warmer tire, so it's not really sticking, but there's a little bit on his car. Mm-hmm. He gets home and and it's about a 5-mile, drive, 6-7 minutes, if that. He gets home and sends a picture of his yard, and it's not covered. You can still see grass, but he got a pretty decent dusting. I'm like, that is where I grew up. I love to hone. Now my wife and I have been together now 15 years. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we first got together and we were sitting there talking, and she says, well, I don't know how the conversation came up, but I said, I'd like to retire in my hometown of Vandergrift, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Vandergrift. Right. And I was like, I love the cold weather. I love that or whatever. Now, for performance, I hate the cold weather. I don't do anything. I won't even go fishing. If it's 55 and cloudy, I'll go. If it's under 55, it has to be sunny. So if I look at it and it says 53, it's got to be sunny. I don't do anything in the cold weather now. I can't. And I'm sitting here thinking, it's going to be, the other day when he sent this, it's going to be 75 today here in Georgia. It literally was going to be 75. And they're getting snow. And then by the end of the day, it warmed up to like 50 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You're Detroit, what the cold weather is like, but you've never moved. You haven't moved. You've been there for a minute. I can't take it now. I can't take it. I cannot take the cold weather.
I did a year and a half in near Nashville. I was in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Which is really only about 10 degrees warmer on average than whatever it was in Detroit. It was about 10 degrees warmer, and the winter was shorter. But we had cold nights and days, etc. But it was definitely, you could feel it was nicer. But yeah, I lived out near Boston in Massachusetts for about 4 years, and we were in an elevated area, and we got clogged with snow every winter. I mean, in the snowfalls, we'd get like 5 or 6 a season, but they were like 15 to 25-inch snowfalls.
Yeah, in Mass. How long did you live in Tennessee?
Just over a year, about a year and a half.
Okay, so, but other than that, you pretty much always, whether it's Boston, whether Detroit, now, did you always live in like cold temperatures where like Detroit, Boston are known for, they get summer, but like Atlanta is known for its heat. Even though we get winter, we can go down to the 20s. It's known for a nicer climate.
Oh, yeah.
So have you pretty much always lived in the northern states where we get pretty bad winters?
Yeah, and it's funny in Michigan, in the lower peninsula, if you're in Detroit, you're on the far east side of the state. I went to school in Western Michigan in Kalamazoo, about a half hour, 45 minutes east of Lake Michigan. But we'd get a foot of lake effect snow in Kalamazoo, and my folks would be like, yeah, we ain't getting anything. I mean, wow. And it's like, wow. It was only a 2-hour drive in between the two, but that lake effect would get you on the west side.
In Western PA, they have a thing, and people know where it is. It's called the snow belt. And literally, if you're 10 miles from the snow belt, where the line goes through, like Western PA, you could get 4 inches. And if you got 4 inches inside the snow belt, they're getting 7 to 8, if not more. I mean, like, it's a noticeable difference.
Is that near the Allegheny Mountains there?
Yeah. So I remember literally being like in college, and it's April and there's snow outside. And there's snow outside. I mean, it was, and I was like, this is what I love. I loved it. I remember growing up to where I'd close the door to my bedroom and I'd have to put a towel under it because I would open my windows and keep it so cold that my folks were like, don't let any of that air out because you're going to make the heat kick on or you'll make the house cold. So when I get up in the morning, I get up and I said to myself, okay, here we go. I got to get up, grab my towel and get out so I can go grab a shower. And I would open the door. That'd be on for about 2-3 minutes. Folks are like, shut your door. You're heating up the whole house. Yeah. But I loved it. Now I can't take it. And I'm sitting there, man. Like, people are asking me, when you coming back home? When you gonna be home for Easter? This, that. And I won't know until maybe a week before Easter. So when I can check the weather report to see how cold it's going to be or how warm it's going to be for Easter. Mm-hmm. I can't take it anymore, man. I can't. So I'm loving, we are 70s today, gonna be 70s tomorrow. So I'm enjoying that. I don't miss cold weather at all. And I thought for sure I'd miss it forever. No, sir. Not at all, Jack.
No, it's fun in December and it's about it.
Yes, exactly. You ain't lying.
Hey, let's talk about some fun. Let's talk about UFC Fight Night 255. Let's talk about some of the key matches. I know we previewed about 3 of them last week. Let's talk about the results, Chop. What do you got?
Well, it's kind of crazy because they were all close fights. Well, the main event wasn't, but the first one, remember we talked about, I'm going to go with Holland and Gunnar Nelson, right? And Holland was, I think, on a 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 4 skid, right? And he's a hell of a fighter, but he just was getting outside of himself. He would fight guys that are known guys standing up. He has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He wanted to stand up with guys. Now don't forget, he moved up to 185. So now he come back down to 170. So if you're putting on weight to get to 185, most of the guys at 185 you're fighting are coming down. They're losing weight to get into camp. Yes. So you're at I hate to say double disadvantage, but it compounds your disadvantage. So he, as in Holland, had not looked as good in his previous fights because he was, fighting guys that were significantly bigger. Like in his last fight, he fought that De Renier, or whatever have you. And in fighting him, Renier took him down pretty easily and ended it because he was just so much bigger and stronger. You know what I mean? And that just, to be honest with you, how it was. Now, this Gunnar Nelson has long layoffs, but he can still choke a lot of guys out with no problem. You know what I mean? So he comes in the first round. He's trying to close the distance. He's hesitant. Gunnar is hesitant. And Holland was able to take advantage of that. Towards the end of the round, he stuck him with some nice jabs, some nice hits, some punches. And depending on who you talk to, at the end, it was like, and then Holland hit him because he had knocked Gunnar down. He had dropped him. And watching a boxing where it was some may say it was after the bell. Some were saying it was on the bell, but it's razor thin. It wasn't a foul. It was razor thin. So that was the end of the first round. Gunnar comes out in the second round, and you can tell he's not still at 100%. Your boy, as in Holland, is able to fight off some of his takedowns. At some point, Gunnar does get him down, but he doesn't do a whole lot of damage. He goes with some submissions, doesn't get him, doesn't do a whole lot of ground and pound, and that's where you thought maybe Gunnar's not. He hasn't cleared the cobwebs yet from that getting knocked down in the first round. You really didn't know. Third round, same thing, pretty much comes out, and he does end up getting taken down. He took some blows standing up, Gunnar did. He ends up getting Holland down. Never really had him, never hurt him at all. Never was really, he's gonna go, he's about to submit him. That never really happened. So at the end of it, it was Kevin Holland getting a win he really much needed in 170, because like he was, let me see, he was Yeah, man. He lost 4 of his last 5. He had lost 4 of his last 5, so he needed this Holland. But he's still great to watch. The fans are still going, and he probably could have even lost last week, and the fans would still show up to watch if he was on the bill in a month from now. They'd because he's an entertaining fighter. He just doesn't. You just don't know what Holland you're going to get. So he ended up getting the win 29-28 on all 3 scorecards, unanimous decision. So then we had, which to me, remember it was Carlos Olberg, who had only had 12 fights at the time. He was going against Juan Blachowicz. Blachowicz had double shoulder surgery. He's 40. Olberg was in his 20s. So, time is on his side. Speed is on his side. But he hadn't, he as in Olberg, hadn't been in the octagon with the type of guy that Blachowicz was. Now, to me, I thought Blachowicz did enough to get the win. Well, everybody sees things differently, but I had Blachowicz getting the win. It was competitive. This also went to distance. It was competitive. They both exchanged punches, and even when Olberg was throwing, Blachowicz wasn't letting him get those for free. Now, Olberg gets the decision 29-28 on all 3 scorecards. So it's technically a unanimous decision because all 3 scored for him, giving him 2 rounds to 1. But to me, if it went to me, like I said, I had Blachowicz winning. Some people might agree with Olberg. Some people, I'm sure, going with me. And if someone said it was a draw, they would have been okay with that. But that was Olberg. He come in, and regardless of what you think, he got the nod. And even if he hadn't, he would have had to have gotten a boost of confidence because that was the biggest name he'd ever fought. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if Blachowicz was going on it's a while or coming off a double shoulder surgery, a long layoff, whatever have you. This was a man who once held the belt. This is a guy who's a top 5 fight, you know what I mean? Whatever have you. And Olberg went in and did what he was supposed to do. So again, whether you think he got the win or not, he didn't get beat. He didn't embarrass himself. And it was a good fight, give or take. It was a good fight. And he as an Olberg gave as good as he got. I just had Blachowicz winning. But again, it's not a heel I'm willing to die on. It's not something I'm going to, boo and throw, peanuts and throw it in the ring. It ain't that. But I had Blachowicz. Now I'm interested to see on both of those fights. Kevin Holland, does he stay at 170? Does he go back up to 185? Now it also would depend who they offer him at either weight to see what he does. You know what I mean? So we'll go from there. But on that aspect, man, those were 2 good fights. And then we had Leon Edwards against Sean Brady. The first round, I liked what Leon. I'll go with Leon. I thought Leon won the first round, did what needed to do. You know what I mean? Now, Brady did, but and I can't even say that with whole sincerity that he won the first round. Because Brady, whenever he wanted to take Edwards down, he did. You know what I mean? And you and I were going back and forth on it, talking, during that, whatever, you were getting your taste of UFC. But Brady is the late Denny Green said. Remember after they lost to the Bears and he said, if you want to crown them, you crown them. They are who we thought they were.
Yep.
Brady is and was who we thought he was. He's a wrestler. He can exchange. He's from Philly. He's grimy. He doesn't have a problem throwing leather. But his bread is buttered on the mat.
Yeah.
And when it came to it, that's where he took the fight. At one point, Edwards was starting to come on a little bit, and he shoots on Brady. I'm like, what are you doing? Even he got the shot. He didn't get the takedown, and Brady neutralized it. But at that point, I'm like, seriously? Even if you had gotten a takedown, you don't know enough wrestling to hold him for the rest of the round. You don't know enough. Your wrestling isn't good enough to hold him down. Your wrestling isn't good enough to win that round, keeping him on the mat. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, and I don't know if Edwards, and I've seen about a lot of other guys who you were by far the superior striker. Even if you would have trained for this entire camp and only had maybe an hour every day of striking, just muscle memory. But 98% of your camp would have been on wrestling. You, as in Edwards, still would have had the striking advantage. And I'm saying that to say I just don't understand why these guys, when you know you're fighting a bona fide wrestler, you know you're fighting a bona fide wrestler, you're not going to get to the point where in your 6-8 week camp, you're not going to get to the point where your wrestling is going to match him. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. He's been doing it for years. However, possibly with your quickness, with your athletic ability, and this goes for a lot of guys that are pure strikers, right? With your athleticism, with your quickness, with your quick muscle twitch and burst energy when you need it. I don't understand why guys don't spend more time on the mat in wrestling in upcoming fights when you know you're fighting a wrestler, because you don't need to be able to out wrestle him. It goes to the old adage, you and I are being chased by a lion, right? And they said, Drew, you're never going to outrun a lion. Say, I don't have to. I just got to outrun you, Chops. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. So when you're fighting a wrestler, you don't need to be able to out wrestle him. You just need to be able to scramble enough to get back to your feet. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need.
That's
so,
right.
But I don't understand why guys don't do that. I don't know why they don't do that, but it is what it is. So what is it? Third round, they came out and pretty much the same. And I said at that point, honestly, man, I'm done. You and I were going back and forth, and Brady came out quick, fast, in a hurry. No, fourth round, because in the third round, he dominated Edwards as well. Fourth round, Brady comes out, takes him down relatively fast. The second round, Brady could have been a 10-8 round if you wanted in the second round, because that's what Brady shot quick and held him down. I mean, what? I think rounds are 5 minutes. I think he held him down for 4 minutes and 50 seconds. The only reason it wasn't a 10-8 round is because he didn't punish him. You know what I mean? And hell, seeing that he ended up choking him out, I don't know that they didn't give him a 10-8 round because they didn't need to go to the scorecards. I just don't see it being a 10-8 round because he didn't punish him. He controlled, but he didn't punish him.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So now, real quick, and he comes out fourth round. You and I are going back and forth. We're texting, going back and forth, and I was hot. I was mad. I'm like, "What are you doing? You're a professional." And I get if you get okay. We love football, right? You love your Detroit Lions. You understand, even every play on offense is designed to score a touchdown. It's not going to, but every play an offensive coordinator writes up, he hopes it's a big gainer and he hopes you can score and move the ball.
Absolutely.
But when the Lions don't score on every play, you don't get mad because you realize as much as you prepare and get paid to score, there's other guys that prepare and get paid to stop you from scoring. Yeah. Now you get mad when Detroit comes out, or your Lions comes out with a game plan that is not their identity, or they're not playing up to par. Yeah. That's what I started seeing with Edwards.
Yeah.
Brady was getting in with those shots too easy. And I understand that Brady with his wrestling could take you down at any time he wanted. I get that. But don't let that be for free. Shoot that knee right up the middle. Years ago, before you even got into MMA, and started really learning about it, your boy, the Muscle Shark, Sean Shirk, I want to say his name, Sean Shirk, he's fighting George St. Pierre, GSP, right? And he comes in, and I want to say it was St. Pierre, threw a perfectly timed knee. Because now Muscle Shark was a wrestler. GSP was a wrestler too, and a great wrestler, but he made him pay for that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Jose Aldo was fighting Chad Mendez, and he's got Chad, or Chad's holding Jose, and he's got him around his back like he's going to suplex him or whatever have you. Jose pivots, and as soon as he pivots, Mendez goes for the double leg, boom, knee straight up the middle, knocks Mendez out. So I understand what you're going to do. And even if those knees had missed, he'd have got his head off the line and those knees missed, and he still takes you down, that's okay. Because at least that wasn't for free. You made him realize he has to be. But Brady was coming in at will, doing what he wanted to do. And remember, you had to tell me that he tapped him out because I said, I'm done. I'm turning off. I'm not going to watch the next 3.5 minutes of him just laying. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't even ground and pound punishing Edwards.
No.
And then a few seconds later, you're like, it's over. He tapped him out anyway. And I was like, dude, you knew that's what he was going to do. You didn't even make him fight to eat up that real estate. You didn't make him change his game plan or anything. And that's what bothered me. But hey, Brady was who he was. He knew he was a wrestler, and that's what he stuck to. And he got the win. He got the win. So I applaud him. So whatever we got, we got a few things going on as well. Real quick, this week we have Brandon Moreno versus Urseg. These are little cats. They're little guys.
Mm-hmm.
Moreno fights at, I think this fight will be at 135 and 135 or 125. I'm not sure. Maybe 125 because the Everton 125 probably. But Moreno is 30-31, but he's a gamer. He is a gamer. Win or lose, he's coming to bring it. He is really coming to bring it. And Ursig, he is as well, 125 cat. Not sure his age. He's somewhere around there on the same token. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he is coming off of a 2-loss skid. Now, he's fought some good ones. He's fought Kaikar France, and Pantoja. No slouches. No slouches. So your boy Urseg is not having an easy road because Brandon Moreno, win or lose, you saw the movie 300. Go out, come home, if you come home or go out on your shield or come home. You know what I mean? Either come home or go out on your shield. And Moreno is going to go out on his shield. You know what I mean? So that should be a good one. Little guys that, 125ers in boxing, they can still bring it. These guys are going to bring it. You know what I mean? Now, there's some other fights on that card, but just being honest with you, Kevin Gastelum, he's a gamer. He's 185. He's fighting Joe Pfeiffer. That should be a decent one. You know what I mean? So, but those are the ones I want to. I'll watch them all. But for guys that are deep into it, they wouldn't want to care. Kevin Gastelum's a big name. Drew Dober is nice. He's also fighting. He's a little older, and when I say older, not older in the calendar wise. Well, because he's 35. You know what I mean? With 35, 36. But he's been doing it a long time. You know what I mean? He's been doing it a long time. Had some laughs, been doing it a long time. And 36, in MMA boxing is getting up there. But he's a gamer as well. I think Dober is, I don't think he's 170. He's 155. I think he's bigger than 145. I think he's 155. So you got Dober fighting. That's one you want to see. Kevin Gastelum, that's who you want to see. Even if you don't know those names, they're going to be entertaining. But Moreno and Urseg is going to be that's going to be a good one. So that's what we got on MMA from last week, this week. I hope you guys tune in and like it.
Sounds great, man. That's awesome. Now let's transition over to boxing. We lost a couple great fighters this week, Chops, and we're going to talk about them at length. Rasei, the former Livingston Bramble, we lost him last week, and that was sad. And sadly, we also lost the great Big George Foreman.
Yeah.
A lot of history with those two fighters there, man. Just the absolute salute to excellence. Salute these two guys. We want to talk about them in depth. And let's start out with Rasei, Livingston Bramble. Chops, I used to love watching Bramble fight.
Oh, yes.
The Mancini fights. He fought Costa Zoo. He fought Roger Mayweather. He fought a lot of guys. He's 40, 26, and 3 with 25 KOs.
He fought all comers. Now, but don't forget, though, you don't want to throw the word around. So I'm not going to. He was nuts. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? His work ethic, he never ran out of gas. You know what I'm saying? And it's rough because when you see 40 and 26, you're like, he lost 26 times. He lost to some great ones. And I'm not going to say, and he went a little longer maybe than he should have. You know what I mean? He went a little longer than he should have because the more out there he got, remember you showed the pictures with the snake. He used to wear him to the ring. You know what I mean? He was just, who's his guy? Was Duva his? Duva. Wasn't Duva in his corner?
Duva's trying. I wasn't sure. I'm sure he was at one point. Yeah, but.
And I remember even Duva saying, this dude don't listen to nobody. You don't listen to nobody. You know what I mean? But the one thing about Livingston, again, he brought it. And his wars, and I'm going to call them that wars, because like I said, you don't play boxing. His wars with Mancini, because Ray was a gamer. And you knew Bramble had the toughness. You knew Mancini was tough. You knew Mancini had a nice jab, and you were like, I want to see this one. And they gave us wars, big dog. Mancini had a hell of a cut. Was that the first one or the second one that cut came into play?
Oh, I want to say the first one because then they had the rematch about 7 months later.
Yeah, and Bramble won both of them. But they were good fights, man. They were that Bramble was he was a great guy. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen what the cause of his death was.
Mm-mm.
But it was, he was a good one, man. He really was. And it stinks that a lot of the younger guys coming up didn't and don't know him. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, if guys like Bramble, and I don't know that Ray Mancini isn't, or a lot of these older fighters, if they're still going into gyms, because if some of these younger guys watch tape of some of these older guys, they might realize, yeah, we're making the money, but we ain't doing it the way they're doing it. We are not doing it the way they're doing it. And Bramble, like I said, he was as good. He gave as good as he got every time.
Yeah, and check this out. I mean, I do go back in time because they fought Mancini and Bramble fought in June of '84, so almost 41 years ago. Bramble fought a tune-up in October, and then he fought Mancini again in February of '85.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. And and the other guys, like he fought Edwin Rosario. No, he lost that fight. Was it Freddie Pendleton's another guy he fought? He did lose. He lost that one. Harold Brazier, he beat him. Just Obakar, he fought him in the early 90s.
Man, you're throwing some names back there.
I love it.
Obakar and some of these other ones. Those aren't chumps.
No.
Those are not chumps. You know what I mean? Those are names, and he was, man. I just liked him, and just the roster, man. He was a hell of a fighter, man. He was a hell of a fighter.
Yeah, he wasn't as successful record-wise as like an Arturo Gotti, but I can put them together because they were must-see TV.
Yes.
Who they fought, it was going to be a battle.
Yes, absolutely, because they didn't back down from anyone. You know what I'm saying? They did not back down from anyone. You know what I mean? So he will surely be. I don't know what he was doing after boxing. You know what he's doing for the last 20 some years or whatever, but he was a great one, man, and he fought into his 40s. He fought into his 40s, even losing 4 or 5 straight. He was still fighting into his 40s. He just loved it.
Yup, exactly. Let's talk about another guy who fought into his 40s, Big George Foreman. He won the IBF heavyweight title at age 45 over Michael Moore, oldest champion in history. He won the WBC championship back in, I think that was 73 over Joe Frazier. So
yes.
And what's awesome, one thing I was reading, I'll put that up on the screen right now. One thing I was reading about Foreman, and I wasn't old enough, you weren't either, to see those two fights, but those two fights have some of the Ali, the Frazier fight, and then the Moore fight, two outstanding play-by-play commentaries. Jim Lampley on the Moore fight and Howard Cosell on the Frazier fight. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was epic. Oh, that because what did he hit Frazier with? Down. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. And if you watch, when when Foreman would hit the bag with just a, you mean? But I see why. But you remember your boy Ali called him the mummy because of the way he walked around, but he didn't have to. He still. But the crazy part is, he, as in Foreman, loved his jab. He would throw. You know what I mean? He threw his jab, and it was impressive, man. And you talk about right when. Let's go. Okay, let's go with his original career when he first started. Right, everybody remembers him, the big old guy waving that little American flag. That's how he started out,
Yep.
And it's kind of weird because he grew up in the Fifth Ward, and he was a bad kid. He said it in his own, he was bad. And he was sitting in jail when he happens to see a commercial for Job Corps, and that's what got him in the. You know what I'm saying? That's what got him into boxing. That's what changed his world around, man. And he was phenomenal, and it was weird because when he, as in Foreman, was it Chuck Webb? Who I can't think of who he lost to.
When he lost to Ali.
No, I'm talking about his loss. That what made him retire for the 10 years.
I see.
Because he was in Mexico. Because he was in Mexico, and he said I was near death when he thought he had a heat stroke. And that is what made him, he found the Lord right then and there, and takes a layoff for 10 years. 10 years. This is the crazy part. Now think about this. Ali lost 4 because of the military, right? And whatever have you.
Yeah.
Foreman lost 10. He just walked away. How good could he have been? Those are prime career years, 28 to 30. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At least a good 3 of them, 28 to 31, maybe 32. Those are prime year. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
How good could he have been? But when I look at a man, Foreman turns out to be a great businessman. He starts doing other things. He had a smile that could light up a room without even trying. He was a good one, man. He really was a good one.
Yeah, he and that fight was against Jimmy Young in 1997. Yeah, and yeah, that's when he was like, yeah, I'm done. And he changed his life. He found Jesus. He started church, and he came back 10 years later.
I know.
Just as kind of like some exhibition, and he was raising money, I think, for his church.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it starts rolling in the right direction, and then all of a sudden he's, it's starting to get some traction, and people are starting to talk about him. And then he beat Burt Cooper in 1989. Then he beat Cooney. And now everyone, and then he gets, he fought a couple other fights. He fought 5 times in 1990.
Wow.
You believe that?
Wow.
I mean, he fought Cooney in January. He didn't fight any big names of the other 4, but nonetheless, I don't care. I mean, you're fighting, you're boxing matches.
Yes, you're still taking blows. Who were those other 4 though?
Mike Jamison, Addison Rodriguez, Ken LaCusta, and then Terry Anderson. I do remember Terry Anderson.
Yeah, Terry Anderson. Okay, I got you.
And then he fought the real deal.
Yeah, man. Okay. Couple things I remember about his. Now, of course, neither one of us saw the Rumble in the Jungle, right?
No. Many times recorded, but not live. No.
Yes. So he goes down, he loses that. You remember him carrying the flag in the Olympics. You remember all leading that up, Ale, Boombaye, whatever he goes through that, whatever have you.
Yeah.
Then him dropping Michael Moore, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember what he looked like after he fought Alex Stewart. That was a brutal fight. That was a brutal fight. Yes, he got the win, but I thought Alex Stewart got robbed on that.
Yeah, a little bit.
That was a great fight.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's fighting Holyfield, depending on how you count it, Holyfield hit him or threw punches for 15 to 16, maybe 17 straight seconds, hit him from anywhere from like a 19 to a 21 punch combination, and those are power punches, no jabs, straight power punches going off as you would hit the heavy bag. And George never went off his feet. Phenomenal. Those are the things I'll forget. I will never forget about George Foreman. That 19 letting Evander Holyfield hit you. He was built first off, Evander was built like a cartoon character.
Oh yeah.
And his gas tank was one of the best things he had going for him, regardless of his weight class.
Mm-hmm.
19, 20, 21 punch combination. He just went off on your boy. He went off on him. Could not knock that. That was impressive to me. That was impressive that he took it.
Before he left boxing in 77 after that Jimmy Young fight, Foreman had beaten Frazier twice. He beat Norton right before the Lee fight. He had an absolute war with Ron Lyle. I mean,
yes,
Lyle hurt him.
Yeah,
Ali and Lyle hurt him. Actually, I wouldn't say Ali hurt him. Ali tired him out.
You know what though? This is what I never understood.
Mm-hmm.
Why he never got that rematch? What did Ali do to him psychologically or mentally? Because you would have to think, if you could take a 10-year layoff, you're mentally strong. Now, again, things change, but I just don't understand why he never got that rematch. Never. But again, maybe he lost to Ali and Lyle back to back.
Well, he beat Lyle, and that
was. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. He fought Lyle right after. Well, not right after, but he fought Lyle about. Well, it wasn't that far. It was about 4 months later. In January of it was about a year. It was about just over a year later. He fought Lyle in 76 of January. Then he fought Frazier again in June and beat him. He beat Scott Ledoux. He fought Scott Ledoux a month later.
Jeez.
Oh, and
after fighting Frazier.
Yeah, exactly. And then he fights John Dino Dennis a few months later, and then he had another one against Pedro Augusto in January of 77, and then in March of 77 he fights Jimmy Young and loses. that's just a lot of fighting there.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. It is. It really is. But he was a great one, man. He would. They'll both be missed.
Oh yeah, and then and honestly, it looked like he had lost to Tommy Morrison, and it looked like maybe it's time. And then all of a sudden, it was June of '93, and then all of a sudden, around early, like late spring or early summer, we start hearing about maybe he's going to fight more in November of '94. And lo and behold, he gets it. I mean, just what an outstanding boxer, like you said. And also, interesting story. I heard this recently. He wasn't offered the George Foreman grill initially. Hulk Hogan was.
Are you serious?
I am. And this is from Hogan. I saw a documentary. Hogan said I turned it down because I just didn't take it serious. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. That's how George Foreman got offered the grill, and we all had one of those. Shit. It
didn't disappoint. It didn't disappoint.
I mean, George Foreman to me is like how Joe DiMaggio was. Most people knew him as Mr. Coffee.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
a lot of guys don't even know Foreman for boxing. They know him as a George Foreman grill. Yes. Yeah.
There it is. So I mean, it's a guy who transcended generations and just really will always be respected and loved by many, and just an absolute legend. So God bless both of them. We're gonna miss them. So
yeah, man, absolutely.
On we go. We move on, and Chops are gonna be talking about. Let's talk about Sebastian Fundora's fight against Chordale Booker. Got the TKO in 4 rounds. No surprise there. I think we both thought he's going to get a stoppage. We didn't think it'd be that early, but we figured he would. Your thoughts on the fight?
Fundora did what he wanted to. But here's the thing. I don't know if I don't want to say Booker was in awe, but Fundora likes to fight in close. Booker had opportunities. I understand he got knocked out in the 4th, but Booker had opportunities to work the body. He just didn't do it. He just didn't do it. And the way Fundora is built, he fights at 154?
Yeah.
Dude, we've seen guys 6'6" that are 270. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, so his frame could put on 90 pounds, 100 pounds and still look good at 6'6". You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But what I'm saying is you're 6'6" and you're built like a rail. You would think the body blows are not his friend. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of different fighters, when you're more compact, you may have more muscle, this, that, whatever have you. He's got long legs, but he's got a nice torso that's well, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And because he's so tired, buddy, you're not having to dig deep and go low to get body shots. I was surprised, Booker, he let you in, but you didn't do what you were supposed to. That's my take on that on Booker's side of it. I mean, I got more after you go say what you got.
Well, I think Booker, it's like he saw it and he did hit him, but it was like he couldn't figure him out because Fundora had an answer for him inside. And it's funny, you wouldn't think a guy that's that gangly and long could fight in the foam with, but he's very good at it. And
that's what we had talked about. That he always lets people in. Lets people in, and regardless of what, there's no way Fundora should have been able to beat Booker to the punch. Once they're in close, just straight distance, mathematics. A short, straightest point is the straight line. Shortest point. Your arms are shorter. You should get there first. But Fundora was on his mark. Now, Fundora did what he was supposed to. Nobody gave Booker a chance. Nobody thought Booker could do anything. Fundora was a big time favorite, and he went in and got him out of there. That's what you're supposed to do, and he did what he's supposed to do. So hats off to Fundora because that's what he did. That's what he did. He was supposed to do.
Yep, absolutely. So now let's talk about the mandate from the WBO because they're mandating that Xander Zayas get a title shot against Fundora. They had at the time 20 days. I believe they got about 2 weeks now to figure it out.
Yeah.
This could be an exciting fight.
And real quick, that if they don't, that goes to an open bid.
Yeah.
Right. And it is, but for all of our fans, if you don't know what an open bid is, that means if neither team's camp and those two camps can't come to an agreement, anybody, including Turk, can come in there and offer the fighters money. You know what I'm saying? So this is a chance because that's going to be a good one. That's going to set up some future fights at 154 that we're going to have to pay attention to. So on that one, and we're not breaking it down yet, but this is going to be a huge, huge test for Fundora because he doesn't use his distance like he should. Not in my opinion. He should be. When you fight Fundora, every guy should walk away saying, man, it was like somebody had a telephone pole with a boxing glove on the end of it, because his distance is so great. You know what I'm saying? You remember how you used to see uncles do it to their nephews, guys do it, little 4 and 5 year olds push their head and they're swinging. They can't. That's what his should be like when he fights everybody. Yeah. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now, a couple of things. Xander is, I think, at him, listen, what, 6'1", 6'2"? Mm-hmm. Now, you saw that. If you put that picture back up, he doesn't look, he's taller than Fundora, or Fundora is taller by a good 4 or 5 inches maybe, but he matches up better than I thought, Xander. And Xander loves to work the body. And I don't know what he walks around at, but he fights at 154. I got to believe, if you told me Xander walks around at 175, I believe it. He's thick. He's thick. You know what I mean? So that's going to be a good fight and test Fundora. Can you do what you're supposed to do and use your height? Because one of the biggest things, great, like I said, it's easier to punch down than it is to punch up. So you have that height. One thing is, I always hate when I see a guy with a 3-4 inch height and then you crouch down. You just took away your advantage. What are you doing? I hate that. So I'm interested to see if Fundora can do that. And then secondly, Xander throws body punches with bad intentions, and he throws punches in bunches. He's going to hit that body. He's going to work that body. So I'm interested to see. And Xander is go from round one. This is going to be a very intriguing, very good fight, big dog. Very big fight, Drew.
Now, ESPN has he's with Top Rank, right? So he's with ESPN's been covering him. So I'm curious how that would. And the Zone and ESPN have partnered together several times. I don't know how it's going to work.
This is gonna have to be. Fundora has an actual belt, and I mean, we've seen other guys fight for belt, but it's a major belt. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be on pay-per-view. I think there'll be pay-per-view, but because of that, that's also why I think it might be a little tricky to get it signed. Because let's be real with it, he isn't. Fundora has the belt. He's the champ. But can you tell me, Drew, unequivocally, beyond the shadow of a doubt, is he the bigger name? Is he the more of a fan favorite, Fundora?
Well, that's the ESPN effect. People have seen Zayas more because of ESPN. I've seen
a Mexican fighter, the way he comes with it, the way he brings it.
Yeah. Now, I love him, but I mean, I've seen Fundora more than Zayas. He's just been around a little bit longer. But I mean,
I've
seen Fundora a lot. Go ahead.
But see, that's where you gotta before you go too deep. That's where you gotta balance it.
Yeah.
Jake Paul is selling out whatever, and he's not a boxer at all. You know what I mean? I hate to say it that way, but it really isn't. He, challenged Fury to a rematch. Why would you want to offend? Redeem that loss? You just were trying to get Canelo in the ring. Why don't you go for another big name? That's neither here nor there. But because, like you say, the ESPN effect, but Bud hasn't fought on ESPN. Tank Davis hasn't fought much on ESPN, but we know that maybe because of the knockout. Tank because he knocks people out. But Bud is a technician. You know what I'm saying? But so some people, some guys, if you're a big name, you're a big name. You don't need ESPN. You know what I mean? ESPN has definitely helped Keyshawn. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Xander Zayas, and maybe that's what the ESPN crowd is. What they'll show up to see Zayas. But I think for guys like me and you, this is a really good fight, dude. This is styles make fights, and this is a really, really good one.
Yeah, and Fundora, number one, I totally agree with you. You have the advantage in height and reach like he does. Why would you nullify that and let him inside? I mean, you see it time and time again. I mean, just go back to Anthony Joshua and Ruiz. The one thing you couldn't do was let him inside. Oh, well, you let him inside.
Yeah. Yes.
No need for that. Win the damn fight. I don't care if it's not pretty. Win the fight. Win the fight.
I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. And 6'6" at that height, it should be hard. And listen to me. If he wanted to pop everybody, just pop that jab, pop that jab, pop that jab. Now, if they decide they're going to lower their head and rush in, hit him with the uppercut. Make it worth it. But guys are just closing, eating up that real estate without paying the toll for that. Xander is going to Now, I don't know if you saw Charlo talking his mess. Charlo, he's back out. He wants to come back in. Telling you what, big dog, this has major implications on where 154 goes. Murtazayev is going to come back into it. Win or lose, depending on how this goes. Will there be a rematch? Will Charlo come in? Who's going to, you know what I'm saying? Will Tim Tszyu come back in the mix? I'd like to see the winner of Tim Tszyu and Tim Tszyu and Charlo battle the winner for the belt of Fundora and Zayas. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then on the same card, right? If you could get Tim Tszyu and Charlo, right? On the same card with Fundora and Zayas. Then the winners fight each other. The losers of those fight for the chance to run it back with you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So let's say, for sake of argument, Xander loses. But now boxing gives you that automatic rematch clause most of the time. You know what I mean? So there probably would be one, but it would be pretty, man. It would be pretty if they had a round robin those four. I'd like to see that. Man, I'd like to see that.
It's such a good idea, so that means we definitely won't see it.
We won't see it. But also, why did Tim Tszyu never ask for his? I always want to call him Costa, his dad. Yeah. Why did Tim Tszyu not ask for a rematch? Because he took that fight on a week, 10 days notice, and looked pretty good. It was a bad cut, but he looked good. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then he lost to Murtazayev, and he just, you know what I mean? So maybe that's it. I don't know.
He lost pretty badly in that one too.
Yeah. So, knocked out. Yeah.
So we shall see. That's going to be a great one, though. We'll look forward to previewing that one. Let's talk about George Kambosos. He got the unanimous decision over Jake Wyllie, who took that fight, I think, on 5 days' notice, chops out in Australia. Mr. Wyllie, yeah, I mean, he certainly stood in there and took shots and showed his worth. Eddie Hearn promised him a contract, so that's good for him.
Big guy, and it's funny. It's funny because here's why. Number one, did you watch the fight?
I saw most of it.
Okay. Did you see the earlier half or the late half?
The late half.
Okay. So you saw when Wyllie was coming on because the first half of the fight, your boy Kambosos was in, and I don't know if Wyllie got a second win. I don't know if he computed everything he needed to. I don't know. And I'm not going to say he's like a Bud Crawford does that. Gervonta does that. Start slow to compute what you're doing. Then they get to win. I can't say Wyllie has enough experience to do that. So I'm not going to put him on their level. Okay. However, just hear me out, big dog.
Okay.
Kambosos wins the early rounds, no question. 6 or 7, Wyllie comes in, wins a round. Boom, bing, wins a second round. Now, what was it? 116, 112?
Yeah.
But the one judge had it 115, 113. Right. That to me, 115, 113 was better than the 116, 112. 116, 112. I had big dog. And here's the thing. Now, did you see like 8 through 12, 6 through 12, or did you only see like 6 through 8? Or did you know how much?
6 through 12. 6 through 12.
Okay, so now, from what you saw, did you have Kambosos as the clear cut? Okay, there could be two things. Two things can be true. He can be the clear cut winner, but he didn't walk away and beat Wyllie up.
He won the fight, but it was, you know, like I said, I didn't score because I didn't watch the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Caught it late, but no, I mean, I was a little disappointed.
Because it went the distance.
Because
it went the distance.
When we previewed it, we said that would not be a good thing.
No, because Wyllie didn't have the experience. He was going to be a fan. He bought a ticket for the fight. And then he ends up getting a call up. Now, so that to me did not look good.
No.
As in Kambosos. But Kambosos, again, Danny Green, he is who we thought he was. He's grimy. He's not going to knock you out. He's going to go to distance. I just wish it would have been a more spectacular fashion, even if you got to go to distance. Make it to the point where, dude, you're not even in this fight. You know what I'm saying? So, and Kambosos, it's not that he looked beat up, but his face, you could tell he took some shots. Kambosos took some shots, right? So, now, we're both in agreement. Wyllie lost the fight. I think it was closer than 116, 112, but Wyllie did lose the fight. Okay. I want to hear your answer onto this question. Why do you think Eddie Hearn gave him a contract?
Well,
and real quick before have you ever seen that a fill-in get a contract?
No, I'm
short notice.
Not that I know of. Not that I remember.
Okay. None that come to mind.
No.
Okay.
He takes the fight on 5 days' notice. He goes the distance with a proven good pro.
Yes. Yeah.
Certainly deserves a shot, absolutely, and he's going to get one. Now that contract, who knows what the term or whatever that is, but nonetheless, it looks good. It's I'm happy for the guy, but I'm thinking more about Kambosos. It's like, as a real pretty good boxing fan, I'm not real interested in seeing him a whole lot. I'm just not.
No. And it would have to be against a big name to watch him again, and he's not going to be the headliner. Nope. He now could be on ESPN. Now, if he's fighting over in his side of the, in his country, his hometown, or in the UK, the zone might sign him, whatever have you. But if he were to get back in, hypothetically, with a Lomo or a Tank, not the Tank, why would Tank come back to that? Or he gets a Chris Stevens, or Devin Haney wants to get him as not a tune-up, but as a comeback fight somewhere down the road. Or Teofimo is like, no, I want my get-backs. I want my get-backs. Okay. That would be an ESPN fight because neither one of those guys right now is a big draw. Teofimo. Okay, but having said that, do you think, you know me, I'm always a conspiracy theorist, always thinking crazy. Do you think Eddie Hearn offered Wyllie right then and there, because you knew Kambosos wasn't a heavy puncher. You knew Kambosos wasn't going to knock you out. Kambosos doesn't embarrass anybody. So basically, you got Kambosos. He is what he is. Okay, so having said that, do you think he offered Wyllie a contract because of Turk and Dana White? Now, here's why. Now, just think of this. I know I'm crazy. Just let me cook. Turk and Dana White are coming up looking to sign boxers, right? Now, Tio, he just finished with his contract. Whatever have you. Wyllie is young, but the whole world just saw he's a gamer, and he'll give on 5 days' notice. I was in there with a champ. I can go. I'm giving as good as I got. If that is somebody you want in your stable, even if it's only for 3 fights for 2 years, at least we can make some money off him, maybe encourage him to stay later. Because if they'd have let him walk out of there, now Turk sees him. Ooh, I got plans for you, big dog. I got plans for you. Yeah. And I was just wondering, because you've never seen that. You've never seen that. Dana White, when the first Ultimate Fighter started in the late, it was, I'm looking right at him, and I can't think, man. I can't think of the two. Forrest Griffin versus, and I'm looking right at him. Well, the guy Forrest Griffin fought is no longer with us. He passed away. But Forrest Griffin won the fight, and when he won, his opponent, I'm looking right at him, 205, I'm looking right at him. He just falls to the ground, falls on these, like, man, I can't. But it was a great fight. That put MMA on the map, right? So, but Dana White was like, I can't let you go. Even though you lost and there's a guaranteed contract to Forrest Griffin, the way you fought, the way you helped me make money in this, I'll give you a contract. I've seen that. I've seen Dana give some guys contracts. If you go through his Tough Enough series, if you go through his Wanna Fight series, you know what I mean? The challenge, the contender series. I've seen that. But when Eddie earned it, I haven't seen it. I'm sure, the late, Bert Sugar, some of the historians, they've seen it, or they would know, the late Bob Sugar or whatever, some of those other guys, Dan Raphael, he might be able to speak to somebody. I can't think of any. And I just thought of that. Do you think he offered him because, yeah, you're a good fighter, but I don't know that you've proven yourself, because walking into this, you hadn't shown me a whole lot. I had 12, 13 fights of footage of you, and you hadn't shown me a whole lot. But in one fight, I'm now to believe you're the great. You know what I'm saying? So I was just thinking, what was his motive and motivation to give him a contract?
I mean, it could be all of the above. He's got a name now. So, the next fight he gets, everyone's going to remember, oh, yeah, Wyllie took Kambosos the distance on 5 days rest. Yeah, let's go watch him. And who knows? Maybe you get lightning in a bottle. Boom. Okay.
Yes. And I get that after, like, the scenario you just laid out. I get that after the second fight. After the second fight, he came in. Maybe he didn't win. Maybe it's against a Devin Haney, but takes Haney the distance, does work. Maybe he fights Shakur Stevens. If he comes down up what way they fight, and he gives Shakur pushes him, makes him whatever have you. I don't know. Maybe he fights now Abdullah Mason. gives Mason, I can see that now. Let me sign this guy. But after one fight with Kambosos, you did the same thing everybody else did. Went the distance. We got outpointed by Kambosos. I just wasn't sure why he signed him. I wasn't sure, and that's something that's been on my mind. I've never said why. Because it wasn't like he was rocking Kambosos. It wasn't like the victory was stolen from him. It wasn't like, nobody complained about it. Nobody complained about the 116, 112. I had it close, but nobody complained. You know what I'm saying? But why would you give he just got outclassed. He really did. He showed heart. You're a professional fighter. I'm paying you. You should show heart. I just wondered about that, man. I just wondered.
We'll see. Maybe Eddie thinks he's got the next Rocky Balboa, poor man's version, right?
Maybe. You never know.
We got about 5 minutes to go.
We're
going to talk about the Zepeda fight coming up here, the rematch against Tevin Farmer for the WBC interim lightweight title. The 32-0 William Zepeda. I mean, he's got 3-inch height advantage on him. Chop's got about 3-inch reach advantage. I put on here. He's got the age advantage. Farmer's 33-7-1 with 24 knockouts. They both got power, but let's go back to the first fight, and every judge scored it 95-94. It was a split decision for Zepeda. Many people felt Tevin Farmer won the fight.
Yes. So
there's a lot of intrigue going into this one. It's going to be on DAZN on Saturday on the 29th. But let's talk about this one. William Zepeda is an impressive fighter. I like him. I like a lot of things that he does in the ring. But let's talk about this. What do you think? He's got to distance himself a little bit from Farmer because he's got to.
Don't forget, he was before this fight because he was expected to be the like you said, the runaway victor against Farmer, the first one.
Oh yeah,
and that was trying to set him up against Shakur, right? That was trying to set him up against Shakur. Then he said it hurt his hand, whatever have you. Now he's got to look good. He's got to run away with this thing. And when I say run away with this thing, it can't be razor thin again. It can't, because if you're having a hard time taking out Farmer, then and the crazy part is, people realize styles make fight. They say that all the time until a lot of times it comes into play. Maybe Farmer just has his number. I don't know. And makes him and fights him and fights him pretty good. Because Father Time is undefeated, Zepeda needs this more than Farmer. Farmer, he may be able to catch lightning bottom. Let me get this win. Let me get my get backs. Let me see if I can strap it on for one last run to get my fat paycheck. But I just think Zepeda at 28 has so much more he can do with this win if he gets it. It's going to be interesting. What I want to see is, how does Farmer change? Zepeda is who he is. You know what I'm saying? He's going to throw that, and he is a southpaw. And that really shocked me that your boy Farmer was able to adjust. You know what I mean? He was able to adjust to that, to the southpaw and really battle him. And it was 94-95. If they would have given it to Farmer, no problem. Because like I said, I thought I had him winning. Even if you'd have walked away with a draw, it'd have sat a little better with me than a draw than giving it to. And I hate to say given, but that's what I'm calling it, giving it to Zepeda. But at that time, I sort of get it, because some people look at it as though more was riding for him, the bigger name at that time, more on the horizon for Zepeda. And in the close ones, they were giving it to him. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a good one. It's going to be another good one. It's going to be another barn burner. Fists are going to fly. And I'm interested in this one. I'm interested. And I'm hoping I'd like to see Farmer get the upset, because I do like Farmer. Mm-hmm. But for what it can do for the sport, I'd like to see Zepeda get this.
I'm calling. I think he'll get the unanimous decision in this one. He'll probably be, it'll probably be like a 116, 112, 115, 113. It's gonna be a close fight, but I don't think they'll be. For the sake of this, not for Zepeda's sake necessarily, but for the sake of getting a bigger fight, maybe with Shakur Stevenson after this or something like that, I would like to see him win this to be 33-0 going into the next fight. It's gonna generate some interest, I would think.
If
Farmer beats him, tip the cap, God bless him. Then I don't know what's going to happen then after that. I'm not sure anyone's interested in a trilogy there or not.
I know. But it depends how it goes. Because if it's a bloodbath, you know what I mean, a good one, and Farmer ends up winning it, you might be able to sell that. And then as you're selling that, call out Shakur. You know what I mean? Call out Shakur. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes, man. I'm definitely interested in it.
Check that out on Saturday, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. Thanks for subscribing. We appreciate your support. We're on every week on the ESEN Roku channel every Friday at 10 p.m. He's Chops. I'm Drew. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.